Welcome to another round of Prem and Proper here at SDH Matchweek 24 in the Premier League. We'll get you ready with it. Maddie is along, and she will give the preview along with all the juice boxes. Drew is here with a 3D, and we hear from about a half a dozen different folks about how things are progressing here as teams are getting ready for their 23rd/24th match of the season. So before we go forward, we got to go backward and let everybody know how we got to this particular moment when it came to all of the standings. And once again, we'll give you standings later on when we get to the preview. Very, very busy Saturday, by the way, as we get ready for activity in the Premier League. So last week in the Prem, going all the way back, it was 5 matches on Saturday, 4 on Sunday, and then Monday Night Football. Early one, Everton and Spurs. Big point for Everton at the bottom of the table. They are trying to get out of the relegation zone. Once again, details coming up in just a little bit. 2-2 draw with Spurs at a plus 276, and it was Richarlison scoring for Spurs and doing the recognition of his old club by not celebrating in those moments. Newcastle and Luton Town, a 4-4 draw. Craziness. It was the match of the weekend on a bunch of different levels. Luton actually had a 4-2 lead at St. Mary's, gave it up, and it was 4-4 by the time they were done at a plus 368. Big point, by the way, for Luton Town and Rob Edwards. Speaking of draws, Burnley and Fulham, a 2-2 draw at Turf Moor at a plus 233. Brighton gets a big win over Crystal Palace. Bad news for Crystal Palace. Michael Olise in for the sum total of 9 minutes before he had to be pulled. Brought in at the half, didn't last very long, out for a while with an injury. Crystal Palace loses by 3. Brighton wins at the Amex at a minus 139. Villa puts a hurting on Sheffield United 5-0. It was 4-0 at the break, and it really wasn't even that close. Villa at a minus 156. Sheffield to win at Bramall Lane was a plus 418. They are last. They are last for a reason. They've only won 2 of their first 23. Sheffield United really looking like they're going to be heading down and be the first one to do it. Sunday, Manchester United shuts out West Ham 3-0. And, of course, the on-again-off-again discussions having to do with David Moyes. They're on again despite where West Ham is in the table. Manchester United at a minus 179. Wolves double up Chelsea. And that drew the ire of Thiago Silva's wife, who demanded Mauricio Pochettino be fired. Then she did retract the statement, attributing it to being emotional in a 6-goal thriller that your husband's team lost at a plus 487. Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest, solid point for both at the Vitality, and Forest needing the point more really than Bournemouth at the moment, even though both are in that third group that we talk about. And the draw was a plus 336. Arsenal, in the marquee match of the weekend, scored early and often over Liverpool, winning 3-1, bringing Liverpool back to the pack when it came to that first 5 that we talk about in Group A at a plus 122. And then Manchester City took a while for the engine to get turned over, and they ended up getting a 3-1 win over Brentford. Phil Foden coming up big with 2 goals and an assist. Once again, we'll go over the standings and the table coming up toward the end of the show. Let's get into the sound of the week, and it is, first off, Mauricio Pochettino, once again, who's, depending on the day of the week, is his job in jeopardy? Is it not? Are they patient? Are they not? Asked about the whole thing about blue cards. We talked about that on SDH. Not a fan. So here's Poch's thoughts.
Difficult to express how I feel about the blue card. I think it's difficult to explain. At the moment, we don't have too much information about that. I don't know. I think that is going to create more debate. It's going to be more complicated to the referees, to the players, to the fans. I think is at the moment which is my feeling now is it's not a good idea.
How many blue cards do you think you would have got in your career?
I don't know because I don't know the intention to add this blue card, on football. But look, for sure, a lot.
Courtesy of Chelsea, their own selves. Now, Aston Villa, once again, Villa getting ready for their matchup this weekend. So, of course, courtesy of Villa, their own selves, it's team news as they get ready for the big test at home against Manchester United. Here's Unai Emery.
Team news ahead of Manchester United. How are Pau Torres and Luka Dean, and will they be able to start on the weekend?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We have a new goalkeeper, young goalkeeper, Joe Galse, and the players with the injury they had, they are recovering. Lucas is as well keeping the last match in the squad with Pau Torres, and still out Consa and John Duran. I think another players they will be available for Sunday.
Team news ahead of Manchester United. How are Pau
at Pep Guardiola's press conference leading into the weekend in their matchup against Everton? They're the early match on Saturday, by the way. Obviously, Sean Dyche had comments about why is it Everton and not Manchester City that gets the immediate look-see when it comes to all of the violations involving either profit and sustainability or FFP. Sean Dyche, very, very vocal. He won't be around because of a touchline ban. Didn't stop him from talking about it. Pep Guardiola, courtesy of Man City, their own selves, was asked about it.
Hi, Pep. Everton had a 10-point deduction this season, and they've got another hearing coming up. Sean Dyche has raised the issue of why Everton have had their process dealt with, or two cases dealt with before City's has even come up yet. I wonder if you have an opinion on that.
I know my opinion about that. I spoke many times, so I don't have anything else to add. So we wait.
And obviously you're not going to get that big of an answer. So we mentioned Unai Emery's stance on Aston Villa in the home match on Sunday. They're the late game at 11:30 going up against Manchester United. Erik ten Hag, courtesy of Manchester United, their own selves, was asked about his squad and where he thinks they stand right now.
We knew we have a good squad. We have good players. We have a good squad. From there on, we can build a strong team. But we need players to be available, and that's the only concern I have. In this moment, we bring players back, and now Licha Martinez drops out. But if there is only one player, I think we can fill it in. We can replace this. But if you lose many players, you will have a lack of routines. And that is what we're just building, so we hope we can keep this process going, and then the results will come.
We've seen some consistency in the front line last few games. Has that really helped the likes of Rasmus Højlund to know that Rashford's there and Garnacho's there, and they start to develop that understanding on a regular basis with each other?
Yes, I think it has to do with the team, and that if we can serve them, and now we fill in our positions in the back line and in the middle, and then we can serve the front line better. And it also has to do with their progress, but how more we get the ball in the right moment to them, and the more they can progress, and they can also build on their cooperation. And football is about cooperation, finding the spaces by movements, by moving the ball, bring players in positions that they can attack the back four of opponents, or to get into one-on-one situations, and then those players have the abilities to outplay it and to score goals.
We mentioned Arsenal and their big win over Liverpool. Arsenal not afraid to celebrate in that 3-1 win, and the celebration's got a bit of a clap back. And this is the most, I think, that Mikel Arteta has talked on a subject all season long. He was asked about it courtesy of Arsenal their own selves, and he went for a while.
Okay, celebration police, let's talk about them. Did it surprise you there was such a fuss about your celebrations at the end of that game? Does that ever surprise you?
No, because they told me today. So I didn't know anything about it. But
you didn't know anything about it? You didn't hear about Jamie Carragher saying, go back down the tunnel?
No, but I love it, because I've seen managers at the Emirates away on their knees inside the pitch. I've seen very big managers walking into the pitch. I've seen managers going across the touchline. I've seen that all in the Premier League. And personally, I love it because it brings such a passion and emotion to the game. When it's done in a natural way and unique way, I think it's great. But it's my opinion, and a lot of people maybe have something very different to mine.
Yeah. They do, don't they, at times? In terms of Odegaard celebrating with the photographer, Stuart's not just any photographer, is he? He's the
No,
fabric
but
of
that's
this
something,
club.
again, that it happened there because there is a relationship that they do it every day here in the training ground as well. But people are entitled to have their opinion. When you do something publicly, they're going to be opinions, some of them positive, some of them not so positive, and that's our job, to accept all of that and then still behave like you think is the right way to behave, and don't lose that. Make sure we don't lose that.
Just finally on that point, was it the fact that it was such a big win for you, it got you back in the title race? Do you feel that's why there was so much a celebration from you guys?
Yeah, but we went to last year, or I see a lot of games on Game 3, Game 6, Game 8, managers, teams celebrating a lot, fans celebrating a lot, and it's so tough to win in this league, and for sure it was a big match for us, and you can tell how much it meant from the whistle, that you could sense the stadium and the atmosphere, very different already, so it was a great day.
Wolves and Brentford, low-key game in the low-key, sneaky, good contest at the bottom of the table. Wolves in the middle of the table with Gary O'Neill, and he leaves Bournemouth in the offseason so they could bring in Andoni Iraola, so he was basically told to leave. And so he goes over to Wolves, and right now mid-table, so doing a good job so far. Gary O'Neill at the midway point of the season, slightly past the midway point, about what he thinks about his squad.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say. Yeah, we are more organised. I think they were an extremely talented group who had their own individual ways of trying to find solutions, which they still have. They still produce moments of brilliance, and they still stand in positions that I don't want them to. And sometimes it works. You know, it's a game of football, and random stuff does happen, and that it does benefit you at times. But as well, to add to that sort of quality that we have and that randomness, we've added a little bit of structure, a little bit of understanding of where we're trying to get to and what to expect and when the ball might be coming in the box and where. And it seems to, I'm not one really for talking about how well things are going or or how pleased I am, because we're halfway through a journey. So we need to make sure that we keep going. But of course, the goals to game ratio has improved a lot. But credit to the players, they still scoring goals in the Premier League is the toughest thing to do, creating chances, and they've managed to produce fantastic moments of quality to see us score enough goals to be where we are at this moment.
And so now that means that it is time for Drew. And Drew, it is WrestleMania season, so we're getting ready for the extra-large WrestleMania. Drew is in straight-up WrestleMania XL mode as we go to the 3D. Thank you, Joey.
3D! Finally, it's time for the 3D. And finally, we are on the road to WrestleMania. Wait. I got a little too excited. Still buzzing from that WrestleMania 40 press conference from last night. But anyways, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Drew Dickinson, and welcome to this week's episode of the 3D. Not a very exciting week of games on paper. What we like to say here on the show, it's not looking real sexy this weekend, but there is one game, maybe two. West Ham hosting Arsenal is pretty important, but the one I'm most excited about is, of course, Manchester United traveling to Birmingham to face Aston Villa at Villa Park. Villa, of course, coming off that horrible loss this past week to Chelsea in the FA Cup. So I'm sure they'll use playing the mighty Manchester United to gas themselves up just a little bit more. But in the Premier League, Villa defeated Sheffield United last Sunday 5-0. And of course, Manchester United coming off that thrilling 3-0 win against West Ham in the Premier League last Sunday as well. I'm sure we all remember the 2023 Boxing Day Classic, United down 2-0 at halftime, only to storm their way back into the match and winning it 3-2. That game saw the first goal of the Premier League for Rasmus Højlund, which was incredible to see. The passion that kid showed after scoring that goal at Old Trafford was just fantastic. It was just an overall great atmosphere at Old Trafford. They were absolutely buzzing in the second half. One of my biggest concerns I have as a United fan coming into this game against Aston Villa is, what's the center back pairing going to be like? Unfortunately, Lisandro Martinez suffered a knee ligament injury this past Sunday against West Ham. He'll be out for at least 6 to 8 weeks, which I can't really explain how big of a blow that is to this United squad. The team is so clearly better with him on the pitch. We've got Lindelof healthy, Maguire is healthy, Varane should be good to go, but you never really know with Varane. So interesting to see what two center backs Ten Hag will go with. Got Shaw and Dalot as the wing backs. And, how about the season for Diogo Dalot? I mean, just incredible. The front three, I expect no changes. Marcus Rashford, Rasmus Højlund, Alejandro Garnacho. Speaking of Garnacho, real quick, ever since that move over to the right wing, which has been about 6 games, he's been absolutely flawless. 4 goals and 1 assist. So I'm looking for him to stay hot. Rashford proving himself on the pitch after that, that week of just terror off the pitch. And Højlund, on fire himself as of late. So looking to see what this front three can produce on Sunday. Casemiro, Bruno, and Kobe Mainoo will boss the midfield and, of course, try and slow down that Villa attack, especially the likes of Leon Bailey and Ollie Watkins. Besides that mystery at center back, or the mysteries at center back, I don't see any changes to the 11. This is going to be a tough game. I really do believe so. It's going to be a tough game. Villa Park will be on fire, but I do like United in this one to edge the home team 2-1. Real quick, just a little news and notes from the week. Sir Jim and Ineos are exploring the idea of tearing down Old Trafford and building, quote, the Wembley of the North. Me personally, I freaking hate that. Just keep it short and simple, very sweet. Old Trafford is a part of, United's history. It's so important, it's so extremely important to the identity of the club and everything that is Manchester United. So we'll just have to wait and see when it comes to that. Kobe Mainoo will seemingly be awarded for his play. Contract talks will begin soon. My opinion, just sign the check and let him fill in the money part. Back up the truck. I mean, he's just, besides becoming a staple on this United team, imagine the England international team midfield. Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, Kobe Mainoo. Oh my gosh, unbelievable. But of course, when more information is available, I will let you all know. So with that being said, that will do it for this week's episode of the 3D. My name is Drew Dickinson. As always, thanks so much for hanging out with me. Have a great weekend, and we will speak to everybody next week. And we're going to send it right back over to you, John.
And so that means, once again, Drew is off and running as he gets ready for the matchup against Villa. He's got a little warm-up time for Sunday. It's time to catch up with your preview, and here's how Maddie and I addressed it on Friday's SDH. We'll run through the matches. It's a very, very busy Saturday, by the way. 7 matches, 2 on Sunday, and then you've got Monday Night Football as well. And once again, we'll play it cliffhanger like we always do. If there's a game that you want to talk about specifically, and we will stop, and we will talk about that particular game. But you have to say stop, and then we'll stop. You can talk about it. All right, so the game that leads off everything, the 7:30 game, no Sean Dyche on the touchline. Sean Dyche saying all of his things about Manchester City, not having to be on the touchline at the Etihad. Manchester City's a minus 500 on the board, going up against Everton. Everton is a plus 1285 to win. Your draw is a plus 662.
All right,
Stop. Go.
I'm excited for that game, especially after hearing all of that stuff going on. I mean, listen, it's at Manchester, so obviously, it'd be interesting. I'm just saying it'd be an interesting thing if Everton were to pull something out of there. I feel like it'd be huge. I don't know if it will happen, but I will definitely be up watching that game. I hope so. And yeah, and Del said Everton is still in regulation zone, so they have to fight. They have to. Literally, they have to. They tied their last one. They've tied the last 2 games, lost against Luton Town. Luton Town. I apologize. Lost against them, and then their last win was against Crystal Palace. So, I mean, they have to either get a tie, which is not ideal, or win that match against Man City.
Yep, and I'm looking for Manchester City to continue to stay as a part of that group up at the top. I think Manchester City gets the win.
I think
10 o'clockers, 5 matches. Fulham at home at Craven Cottage is a plus 143 against Bournemouth. They draw as a plus 261. Bournemouth is a plus 188. Burnley at Anfield taking on Liverpool. Liverpool to minus 556 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Your draw is a plus 725. Burnley in the relegation zone right now is a plus 1375. Luton, and this is one of those relegation 6-pointers now at the bottom of the table. This is probably going to be the game to watch at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I was going to say stop for this one. This one, like you said, battle of relegation. It's Luton and it's Sheffield United.
Yep.
Both of them, they need this. You have Luton at 7 at 17th. You have Sheffield United at 20. I mean, this is a huge game for both of them. It's going to be it's going to be like a cat fight. They're going to be back and forth. I'm excited. This one I will also be tuning into since there are multiple games happening at 10 a.m.
Yep.
That one I will be very much listening into because I really, really like that one.
Luton Town has found their offense recently. They've put up 4 a couple of times in recent play, and they've gotten out of the relegation zone. They're in that group 3 that we always talk about. But Luton right now at a minus 130 at Kenilworth Road. Ooh. Sheffield United a plus 365 on the road, and your draw option is a plus 295. I like Luton Town in this one to continue to spread further and further away from the relegation zone. 2 more at 10 o'clock. Spurs and Brighton. Spurs a minus 128, draws a plus 345. Brighton's a plus 305. I don't know if Yeon-min Son will be available, or if he is, it'll be off the bench, considering he's coming off of Asia Cup. Also at 10 o'clock in the middle of the table, this one's a big one for Brentford on the road at Molineux. Wolves a plus 112, hosting the Bees. Your draws a plus 269. Brentford's a plus 242. Your 12:30. Nottingham Forest and Newcastle at City Ground. Nottingham Forest a plus 229, a home dog. Newcastle's a plus 112, and your draw is a plus 281.
All right, I will stop this one.
Stop.
As I will say this because Dell said something in the chat. Will Matt Turner get the start? Now, personally, I think yes. And why I do, because in that last game against the FA Cup, he had a phenomenal game.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very good job defending. I mean, that PK thing. I sent that tweet to you as well. I mean, just like team celebrating him, all that stuff. I feel like he's earned the start to get the chance to do it. Will he? I don't know, because I'm not their coach.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You're not Nuno.
I'm not, unfortunately. I think you know what? I don't think I'd actually be a really good coach. I think I would be I don't know if I'd do pretty well. But
Maddie yelling at everybody the entire time.
Oh yeah. I totally would. I would be so mad. And then you also have Gio. I think Gio might start. He didn't play FA. I mean, you're going up against a team like Newcastle. I mean, obviously, looking at the board, it's not as like they're a bit higher up on the board. So obviously, Nottingham is playing at home. You want to come out with full force.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gio gets the start. Why not?
Yeah. And I mean, you dropped $5 million to bring in a keeper from Strasbourg. You pissed off the Strasbourg fans. And so I'm thinking that you might be in one of those situations like we were talking about here with Atlanta United, where you may end up with one of your keepers being your cup keeper and the other being your starter. And with the competition going on a daily basis as to who will your starter be, I still think the guy that you brought in from Strasbourg is going to be your number one starter. Matt Turner might end up being your cup keeper going forward. Biggest thing about Forest is they've got to figure out how to score goals. Nuno is not a goals-centric individual, and it's going to be a tough one. But City Ground, traditionally a very tough place to play. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a shared result with both Nottingham Forest and Newcastle. Sunday, 2 games. West Ham and Arsenal, and you know that Jack Collison's going to be getting up early on Sunday morning to watch this one with his beloved Hammers at a plus 501 at home taking on Arsenal. Arsenal's a -182, and your draw is a +345 as Arsenal tries to stay in that group of 5 up top. And then Aston Villa, who is trying to get into the European spots as well. Intriguing matchup at 11:30. Villa at a +117, favored at home against Manchester United. Manchester United at a +214, and your draw is a +287. Monday Night Football, the teams that are left, it is Crystal Palace and Chelsea at 3 o'clock. We'll probably talk about this one again on Monday. But Crystal Palace, it looks like Roy Hodgson, he ain't going to make it through. He'll make it through this year, but he won't make it after this year. And unless things continue to get worse, you won't have Michael Olise. You're going to have problems scoring goals. You're a +342 in the composite as an underdog. Chelsea on the road at a -125. Enzo Fernandez. It seems apparently all you got to do with Enzo is get him mad, and he'll score for you, as they did in FA Cup recently. Your draw is a +292. So Chelsea favored on the road at a -1.25 on Monday Night Football. So there you go. Your standings for those that might have forgotten heading into the weekend. And it is Liverpool up on top. Everybody's played 23 matches except for a couple of squads. Bournemouth has not. Manchester City has not. Brentford has not. Remember, you had the match that was suspended. And Luton Town has only played 22. So Liverpool at 51 points. Manchester City 2 points back, match in hand. They've got goal difference over Arsenal. So Manchester City wins. They get to 52. And Liverpool, like I said, it's that group of 5. Literally, it's Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal. Villa's at 46. Spurs at 44. That's group number 1. Group number 2 starts with Manchester United. They are in 6th at 38. West Ham's at 36. Brighton at 35. Remember, they're juggling European competition. Newcastle at 33. They've hit each column in their last 3 matches after losing 3 in a row. Wolves are 10th at 32. Chelsea is 11th at 31. And then you get into group number 3, leading into the relegation fight. Bournemouth at 27 points. Andoni Iraola doing a really good job. They finally have warmed that engine up a little bit. Fulham's at 26. Crystal Palace at 24. And they're alternating what they're doing over their last 5. Brentford at 22. They've lost 7 of 8. And Nottingham Forest, 1 point in their last 3 matches. They're at 21 points in 16th. Luton Town, they are unbeaten in 4 of their last 5. They seem to have found out what to do, and they have scored a lot of goals doing it. They're in 17th, a point out of the relegation zone. Everton with the 10-point penalty. They are in 18th. They've drawn their last 3. Burnley at 13. Sheffield United dead last with 10 points, 2 wins in their first 23. They're on their second manager, and they are going down. So that's your preview. That's Prem and Proper. Enjoy the matchups. Very, very busy Saturday. And it'll be an intriguing Sunday as we continue to go forward here with the 3 groups that we talk about across the board. Group A, the 5 at the top. Group B, the ones fighting for those European spaces. And Group C, the 3rd group, trying not to get relegated. So we'll have more of that coming up on Monday on SDH. Prem and Proper, the review with Drew and Maddie and you and me and everybody else. So that's Prem and Proper for another week. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy the games in England this weekend.